All right. Yes, it is another what went wrong with the Packers offense. I feel like I'm making, 1,000 of these at this point, but, I made the initial video right after the game ended, but now I want to make a video now that we have the all 22. It makes it so much easier to evaluate what's happening. So I've been doing this a little bit this season. Typically, if I make a video on Sunday, I won't make another video on the same topic, but I figured, we have more information now, so I can hopefully explain things a little bit better. First, let's start off with the play you see on the screen. I'm only showing one route right here, Romeo Dobbs' route, because it's the only one that's really going to be important, as it's going to be a straight up blown coverage by Washington, I think largely due to the play action rollout that Rodgers is going to run. Look at how when Rodgers takes the snap, he's going to look down the field, and typically Dobbs' route is just a clear out route designed to get players out of position. However, it failed in clearing out the middle of the field, but it succeeded in getting Dobbs completely wide open down the field. No Washington player picked him up. However, this is where things get tricky. Dobbs is supposed to cut down towards the bottom half of this, Dobbs is supposed to cut towards the top half of the screen, but clearly, if he continues running towards the bottom of the screen, he could basically get a touchdown right here. So this is where things get tricky, is on paper, well, his route is to run towards the top of the screen, so that's what he's going to do, but this is one of those things where it's like, listen, you don't have to run the route that you were supposed to run in this situation. Just, this is kind of a communication thing almost, but if you have ideal chemistry, like I think about Tyler Lockett and Russell Wilson, and when they were playing together, they had just the perfect chemistry of, like, Lockett would just kind of say, hey, I'm going over here. They had ways that they would signal it, and then Wilson would, Tyler Lockett would say, hey, I'm running towards the bottom of the screen. Wilson would say, yep, makes sense. Throw it there, get a big touchdown. That's probably what should happen here, but, young player, they just don't have that chemistry down just yet. Dobbs goes up, Rodgers tries to throw it back towards the open spot, and it just ends up falling incomplete, which still isn't the worst thing in the world, but, you would have loved to hit on that play, basically. That's a great opportunity for a play that just was not there due to kind of a difference of opinion and really a chemistry thing. It's not even a mistake because, again, you could do it the other way if you want to. If you want to run your offense and say you always run the route that you're supposed to run in every single circumstance, well, then fine, do it that way. But if it is like most offenses, which are, hey, you can, do something different if you're down the field and get wide open, don't be afraid to do that. Well, in this case, you should have done that. So I kind of blame the receiver there, not Rodgers. Another issue is going to be one on this play, which is kind of a small thing, but it's something I've noticed with Green Bay, weirdly, because this has never really been this has actually been a strength of this team, is wide receiver screens, and screens in general have typically been a really strong point of this team, even if it's not to Davante Adams, but now they've been struggling, and I don't know exactly what it is, but this kind of play typically works, right? You have three players who can block everyone at the second level, pick up some yards here. However, Rodgers is going to take the snap. He throws it towards Dobbs, and Dobbs does not make the catch. And even if he did, I don't know how many yards he really had to go there. Maybe he could have found a way to get through, but it would have been, there's a real chance he gets tackled for no gain there. Obviously, you would have liked him to catch the football. That's the main thing there. So again, it's just some issues. They just don't feel like they're on the same page is the main thing I look at here. Because, listen, you don't have the most talented receiving core. That's fine. That's okay. But you also want to get the most value what you do have there, and they're not really doing that. Like, this one's another kind of similar to that first example, just a little bit in a different way, a much less impactful way, but still not quite on the same page, where it's a quarters coverage play that the quarter coverage concept that the Washington football team are in. That's what they do a lot of now. Rivera kind of realized, hey, this cover 3, not quite as good. Let's run some cover 4. It still has its issues, but it has been better than when he was trying to run that cover 3. But what you see happen here is Tunyon's going to try to just get into, a gap in the middle of the field. Watch as this play begins. It looks like he says, okay, I'm open. I'm going to continue to run towards the bottom of the screen, but it looks like Rodgers wants him to just stop at this point. He's like, you're open now. Just stay where you're at. We can gain some yards. He moves down a little bit. Rodgers throws it kind of behind him. Still could have been caught, but again, that throw is really hard and not exactly where Tonyan wanted it to be. So it's a drop, but it's kind of an understandable drop there, and it's set up due to they were just not on the same page again. They have that little bit of a chemistry thing, because again, this isn't a someone ran the wrong route type of chemistry mistake. This is just simply I thought you'd kind of be just 1 yard further over, and because of that, it results in an incompletion. And even something like this, you could argue is a chemistry thing. Deep ball accuracy tends to be a big chemistry thing. So, really, the lack of chemistry really hurting Green Bay, I think, right now, which is a good thing, right? I mean, it's understandable. You have a lot of young receivers and a lot of new receivers in general, so it's going to take some time to get the chemistry down. And B, that is something that can be improved. Guys probably aren't going to just randomly get better halfway through the season. They can get a little better, but, not in a significant way you would assume. But chemistry can get significantly better. We all remember Tampa Bay as, they got much better at chemistry later down the stretch and won a Super Bowl. I would say even the Rams last year were kind of that way. Not saying the Packers will win a Super Bowl, but I'm saying that that's the hope if you're a Packers fan. This is going to be a deep route with Sammy Watkins. It looks like it's a dangerous play because there's a safety deep, but watch what happens. Look at how right when this play begins, you're going to see two main things to watch. First, the safety is cutting off a route over the middle, which, if we're being honest, Rodgers might have thrown towards had the safety stayed deep. In fact, he probably would have thrown towards it, and they would have gotten a decent chunk play. So I get why he did that, but Rodgers is a smart player, right? Rodgers has been here a while. He sees, okay, you're going to take away the middle route? Well, I'm going to throw a deep then. That's what you're supposed to do, and Rodgers is someone who will make this decision. Watkins has, a half step on the corner he's going up against, and Watkins is known for speed. However, it looks like Watkins eventually just gives up on this once he sees it's over his head, but that one was well further deep. I think if Watkins ran out entirely, he might have gotten a little bit closer, but still wasn't making the catch there. So that's kind of just a bit of a how fast can you run? Because that's what you want to do, right? Hit the receiver in stride. Maybe in practice, Watkins was hitting those, and then in the game, he's not. I don't know. But again, another one of those just chemistry things. As a whole, I really think that's kind of the biggest issue that the Packers have going for them offensively right now. That's not true. They would love a Davante Adams. I said on the podcast last week, and I mean it, I think if this team has Davante Adams still, and everything else is the same, which it wouldn't be. They would have to give up some other stuff if they had Adams, so I get that that's not exactly how that works. But if this was this team with Davante Adams, I think that they're a Super Bowl contender still, because I do think that, there's times when just this receiving corps, they can't get enough going in the passing game. But I also think part of it is, going into the season, we kind of felt like, well, it's Aaron Rodgers, it's Matt LaFleur. They'll be able to figure stuff out. They'll be able to do, scheme things open. And they kind of have done that. But if you don't know exactly what these players are, you can't fully do that. I'm sure some people will say, see, it's proof Aaron Rodgers is a bad teammate. I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think that this is proof of anything. I think all that it tells me is that they're not on the same page. I have no idea whose fault it is. We can't jump to conclusions, even though jumping to conclusions is something that a lot of people have a lot of fun doing. They definitely need a receiver to step up, and I don't know if it's going to happen, but hey, Christian Watson has been banged up. Maybe he can come in and start playing well, and that could change some things. He did have that great route early on in the Vikings game, despite the dropped pass, but there's some hope there. But also, just if they get this chemistry down, like, that might have been a difference in this football game. It really might have. If that Romeo Doubs catch, that big play happened, and, it held, that would have been maybe the difference in the game. So who knows? The offense is going through growing pains, but there still is hope. Hey, who knew? There's more to football than just quarterback play. I thought it was just the quarterbacks. Okay, obviously, quarterbacks matter a ton. Quarterback still is the most important position, but the other stuff does matter. Offensive line blocked well, though, so give them some credit there. But yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on all of this? Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.